Good evening.
Hi, everybody.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Oh boy.
Seahorses forever.
Hello, folks. Man, you smell like a feet smell? Is that my? Do you smell that? Is that my feet? No. It's like is it the room or is it my? I don't know. I can smell it. I feel like these shoes need to be. I need to get some of that bowling alley spray. Well, we didn't do a show last week, but we're doing one now. But we've done a lot of good quality content. Maybe not quality. Maybe quantity is a better word for it. But we're back this week. Let you in little slice of our life, plus our takes on things going on in the world, some tragedies, maybe some. I don't know. I don't have any sport. I can't think of any sports right now. Maybe you can. You're not on. I don't know. I'm throwing to you like you're on. But we'll figure it out. Usually we just kind of wander around, but we usually find our way. So there's that to look forward to. Wandering around and more on the Weekly Yak. It starts right now. Welcome to the Weekly Yak for February 22nd, 2018. I'm Mac, along with Norm. Yeah. You're on, buddy.
I'm here. Let's do this.
So, it doesn't smell, it's not, you don't have a stinky smell or anything? You don't smell anything stinky?
I mean, it's one of those things where I didn't until you said something, and then I'm like, yeah, it does kind of smell weird.
Yeah, kind of BO-ish.
But I'm one of those people that, like, as soon as I smell something weird, I immediately want to make sure it's not me, so.
Right. Is it you?
I hope not. I don't think so.
Okay, good.
Oh, God, it's me.
So, did you have a good Valentine's Day last week?
Nah.
I only ask you that because I know you're a sad, pathetic loser.
You're one pathetic loser.
You are one pathetic loser.
Yeah.
No offense.
No, none taken.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Didn't do anything. Just hung out with some friends.
Well, I didn't do anything, but it was during the week.
Those are hard to do. Like I feel like.
Well, no, I didn't do anything because I'm a loser too.
Oh, okay. I thought you're like, I had something to do.
No,
I had someone to do something with, but I
had someone to do. If you know what I'm saying.
Your mom. Yeah, totally.
I don't. It's working at a school, because the kids all think they're in love and everything.
Yeah.
And so they're just. I mean, I saw I saw so many human-sized stuffed teddy bears. Whew. I mean, they're as big as the girls are. It just looks like they're walking. The bears look like they're walking because the girls are behind them.
Yeah, just
holding them, kind of
yeah.
waddling with them. And
do they do things at the school like a candygram or a thingamabob?
Yeah, because they try to keep the kids from ordering things and having them delivered. But they did kind of do a preemptive strike where they called all the florists and they called all the places that deliver and say, don't deliver anything here.
Uh-huh.
They told parents don't have shit delivered here. But if they brought it up there, there's nothing really because they walked around with balloons and stuff. It's all about attention,
Right? Yeah, it's not
just like when they have their birthday and they put money on their
not a real holiday
on their shirt, right?
Yeah.
That's really invented by the candy companies. Got to be. But the best part, and people say this all the time, and I'm sure you've said it. I'm sure hacky comedians say it. The best part of Valentine's Day is the day after. All the candy's on sale.
Oh,
right. Am I wrong?
No, that's a thing. Yeah,
of course I'm right. Just like Halloween, same thing with Halloween.
Oh, Halloween, Easter, Valentine's Day,
right?
Pretty much any big holiday,
candy-oriented holiday. Yeah, not as good as the day after Thanksgiving, where all the old turkeys are half off.
Right. In TVs.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the food part.
Oh.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's got the other sales, the the things, the happiness that you buy.
Sure.
On Black Friday.
That you got it, yeah.
That you feel, like if you that you when you have sadness from Thanksgiving or Valentine's when you don't have anybody, you fill it with $300 flat screen TVs, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's what you do.
Well,
things
sometimes
material possessions.
Yeah, gotta
better
buy,
than love.
Got to buy some happiness sometimes.
Right. The retail therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I like shopping. I don't think I'm a typical male. Would you say I'm a typical male? Nah.
Not in terms of your clothes. I feel like you put a lot of time and effort into that.
Any other aspects?
Shoes. Buy a shit ton of shoes.
I'm like a sneakerhead. So I'm trying to masculinize it, but that's what people that just buy a lot of.
Right.
I mean, I don't have a lot of like a lot of high heels or anything, but I do have a lot of sneakers. And I call them sneakers, by the way, not tennis shoes.
Oh, yeah.
If I bought them for tennis, I would call them tennis shoes. But I say sneakers.
I feel like the older generation is the tennis shoe generation.
Yeah, they're dying out. Like the ones that I don't know, the ones that hate gay marriage. All those people that say tennis shoes. So I'm thinking. Well, I usually I go into my thing because you never have anything to talk about. But you don't have anything. I should ask though. Would you like to talk about something about yourself?
About myself?
That's happening? I mean, even when I worked at the same place you do, I found a way to figure out something to talk about.
This is true. I'm not good with the memory. I got to write stuff down.
Oh, okay.
And I don't write everything. I don't ever write anything down. I mean, and I don't know. We don't know. We don't know who's listening to this. So
lots of people.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah, exactly. You don't know.
I don't know
all of the people who are listening to this. No, but really, you don't have. You really don't have, oh god.
Nah.
See, I felt so bad last week because I didn't have anything prepared that I canceled the show.
Yeah. You're like, I got no notes.
Yeah. So
like,
that
do we
would
have notes?
So that would mean if I didn't, then we really wouldn't have anything to talk about.
Well, we go straight into topics. We go.
You sure?
Yeah. I think we would.
You think we could, even if I didn't have something planned, that we could still do it? Well, you say that. Or we could just do it where we just turn them on and just talk, and then I edit it down to an hour.
Right, yeah.
Where it's just no pressure. There's just recording, and
we're just hanging.
Well, I mean, we've burned some really good, some gold banter by talking about stuff before the show starts.
Right, yeah.
I'm like,
sometimes,
shit.
yeah.
And I'm not good at faking it. Ask any of the girls I've been with. No, bitch, I didn't have no orgasm.
That's on you.
That's on you. It's on you, baby. So what I'm thinking about doing, and I may do this if it's not too late. If it's too late for this year, I'm going to do it next year. I don't think I'm moving.
Why is that?
Well, the whole point of me moving was eventually
to fuck the whole city of Dallas.
Yes. Mac fucks Dallas. Debbie does Dallas.
All right. Change your name to Debbie. You were going to transition.
Yes. That's what I was going to do. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
See, it was a lot deeper and a lot more disturbing than you ever could have imagined.
Man, I support you.
Well, thanks. So no, the real reason. Well, that was like my plan B.
What
to
was?
Transition.
Oh, okay.
To become a woman.
Of course.
But the first,
if nothing works out, I'll just cut my dick.
Yeah, right. And not even transition. I'll just cut my penis off. Not to become a woman, just out of sheer frustration.
I love how Dave puts it when he says,
Chappelle.
Yeah, when he's talking about he believes people that are transitioning from male to female because they have to, maybe not have to, but that's part of the process.
Mm.
And he goes, how would you respond if your friend was like, hey, let's go chop our dicks off and trick dudes into fucking this. Word?
Word? Let's do it. That sounds like a good afternoon.
Yeah.
The reason is because one of my old teachers was up there,
right,
and he was working at UNT,
right.
and I was playing around with the idea of getting my PhD.
Right,
and so that was I wanted to go up there anyway because my sports are up there,
and you'd have a kind of a foot in the door already for
right because he had been there at UNT for a long time and he was a professor and all that stuff. Now he just got a job at Baylor.
Oh shit!
Here, and he
upgrade.
He had told me that Because I would ask him questions. I'm like, hey, what school districts up there should I apply to so I have a day job and then do that at night?
Right.
And I wasn't even thinking about going right back to school right away to that program, but I was just trying to lay things out for future
have
reference.
A plan, have a...
Right. And he hadn't been replying and stuff, and then he finally did, and he told me all this about... Because he got all his degrees from Baylor, like his undergrad, his master's, and his
all
doctorate.
Three?
Yeah.
Dang.
And he was saying, I'm sorry about the radio silence, but I didn't know for sure, and I didn't know who I could tell and all this stuff. So it's basically what he's doing at UNT now, but at Baylor.
Okay.
With less students to advise. Like he's not in, like he doesn't have as many that he's responsible for, like as a mentor kind of thing. And also he likes that, and I always talk shit about Baylor, and I still will, even if I go there. But he likes that his area is educational psychology, and it's mainly like with gifted and talent, different kinds of learners is what he deals with, and the classes that he does, and the research he does, and everything. But Baylor has that same program, but they also built into the program. They also focus on the thing that I really was interested in if I did this was teacher education, because I
like writing.
Preparing teachers for teaching. I don't know if I talked to you about that.
No,
because if you go get your doctorate, you have to pick it's very narrow,
specific. Yeah,
you have to, because you're basically going to become an expert on something,
on one thing. Yeah.
Right. So it's like this one narrow. Like in your undergrad, it's just you're like
kind of broad
psychology. That's my major. Like all that, but then it gets very narrow because you want to be an expert. You want to. Make some, because you can make money if you're an expert and you go talk at things, and, do trainings or whatever.
Which is why I think the PhD and masters should be switched, or maybe just have a different name for PhD. Because, I think if you're a master at something, that sounds more like
the title of it. Yeah, yeah. Right. You're a master. Well, if you're a master barber or a master, there's other
debater.
Vocations. Yeah, a masturbator. There's other vocations where you become like a master electrician.
Right, yeah.
Those are the best in those fields. So yeah, you're right.
But anyway, so they have that same program.
They have that's built that's an aspect of educational psychology at Baylor that wasn't at UNT. They don't, because I told him that's what he's like, what part of if you're going to get like a doctorate in education somewhere, what would you? And I don't think that teachers are very prepared. I know I wasn't. Right. I don't think I would rather
it's almost
help out future teachers.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like it's almost like the real world. Like school is supposed to prepare you for what the world looks like. And there's not a budgeting anywhere class. There's nothing that really prepares kids for just what's out there. Like it's like, well, we're going to give you knowledge and then good luck on everything else. Like I said, budgeting or finding a way to be responsible with different things the older you get. And it's just kind of like, well, here's who signed the Declaration of Independence, take off. Or it's not that simple.
No, I know.
Right, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, but you're right. That same thing I think is for new teachers. Like, I think a lot of first year teachers kind of go into it wide eyed and ready, like, I'm and then you're not prepared for what's in the classroom.
Even if you go to college, I know this isn't that interesting to other people, but just FYI, if you go into college and you want to be a teacher and you do 4 years and you're in education,
right, you're
more prepared than you would be if, like me, you did it later and you went back and you did a alternative certification, because that's only 2 years. It goes really fast, and it's just not as good. But even the ones that go 4 years, even if you intern, right, I still don't think it's good enough, right, because the interning part, you have a teacher in there. I don't know. It's just not. It's not exactly the same, because you still have kind of a safety net.
Right.
You're not responsible for everything. If something is fucked, the teacher is still responsible. You don't have to deal with that.
Right.
And I would want to, because and even once you become a teacher, in service, professional development, all the training you do while you're a teacher is awful. It's the same thing every time.
Right.
It's just the same. They just kind of put a different bow on it, and it's the same. And I think it should be constantly, it should be like a living thing.
Right, evolving.
Teacher training.
Right. It should also be specific to your school district. Like the methods and things that work for the Plano school district sometimes don't work in, like, say, university, or it just...
These are local schools.
Yeah.
Here. But yeah, so you send away for some kind of training stuff, and it's just like a cookie cutter, whatever, and they don't tailor it. And I mean, not to say that they don't ever do anything that's specific to our school, but it's just, I don't think the stuff that they do that's tailored to our school is about how to deal with kids' behavior, but it's never about how to help the teacher develop into a better teacher.
Right.
I mean, handling behavior is a big part of it, but there's a bunch of other stuff too.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, no.
So I think I'm going to stay here, because that would be a big change, trying to do all of those things.
Right.
Trying to change schools, change cities,
and then also
start going back to school. That'd be a lot. So
without someone there to.
I wouldn't have
like
anybody. I mean, I'd have he'd be there, but I mean, he's not my, he's a guy with a family, and he's not like a guy I can just like, hey, I'm scared.
Shut up, you.
So I think I'm gonna, and then after that, I think I don't know. Watch me. I'm probably gonna die before I get all this done. But I'm always like, well, I'll do this, and then I'll put this off, and and I don't know. I hope I'm not making the wrong decisions and putting things off. But
right.
I don't know. With how much I freak out about shit, the less change at once, I think would be better in the long run. So
sure, yeah. That's a lot of change in the span of a couple months. Yeah,
right.
You're right.
So
but
we'll see.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah. So I know you're happy.
Yeah.
You don't want me to leave.
Yeah, man. Stay. Hang out.
Yeah, I'll just stay here with fucking Chip and Joanna Gaines, and their show's gone because it's the last season because she's pregnant again.
Oh wow, really?
The whore, yeah. No, it's their kid, but yeah, she's pregnant. I don't know if that's the reason why they're stopping, but I told my mentor because he told me all this, and he's like, I really want you to come study with me, and with PhD they don't want you to pay, so there is funding you can get to go back.
Oh, nice.
So you wouldn't pay tuition. I'm a little late, but anyways, and I told him, I was like, fuck, I was just about to get out of this place.
Right. Yeah.
I was trying to get out of here. Chip and Joannaville, Magnoliaville. Now I'm going to be part of Baylor, which I hate. It's not really the institution I hate, but the people. I think I just hate college students. Even when I was a college student,
right?
I was an old soul, so I was already a grumpy old man in my 20s.
Yeah. I remember.
I still am. I wasn't a grumpy old man. I've continued to be.
Yeah.
Grumpier. Yeah.
Graduated to the sequel movie.
Yeah. I'm not as angry as I used to be. I was realizing because there used to be, I used to be a fucking dick. Like we were talking about the bank before.
Yeah.
Remember when we all worked at banks?
Yeah.
Or credit unions?
That was,
all of us. That was the life.
What was that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still work at a financial institution. Nuke still works at his same bank.
Right. Yeah.
But I was just thinking, and it may have just been that the bank I worked at was so, I told you how bad that place was, like socially, like with each other, like But man, I used to get pissed all the time and just like not talk to people, and I haven't that. And I think maybe I'm older, but also teaching is just where you don't have time to fucking be mad.
Doesn't afford you that luxury.
Yeah. And plus, if I get mad at anybody, it's the kids. I'm not really. You're not really
talk to you guys anymore. Like,
well,
great.
That fucker that's like, he's never there, but he is there, so it feels like 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But you're not really with your coworkers enough because you're stressed in your room,
right?
And
it's almost like the coworkers are a safe haven. So even if you're pissed off at someone, you're still
I run to them.
Right,
yeah. So maybe that's really it. Maybe I haven't grown and matured. It's just that I don't have the opportunity to get pissed and shut down.
Well, I think that's it. Like you probably, things are easier for you to deal with. Maybe now you when something pisses you off, you're just like, well, I don't have time to process it. Or I don't have time to deal with it. So I'm just gonna.
I kind of move on right away and not. Yeah. Because maybe that's
it's almost like
it's
not worth wasting a day or another 10 minutes dealing with this specific problem, which is probably a student or something.
Right. Maybe that was it. There was less of those problems at the bank, so when one came along, I could focus all my attention and all my energy. Take years off my life and get stay pissed about it. So
give yourself an ulcer. Yeah.
Yep.
Not anymore.
No. I have other problems now. Other diseases now. I have a drinking problem now. I traded it all in for good old
cognac.
For the I'm on the sauce. I was trying to think of another old timey way of saying it. The hooch. Hooch. Yeah, JD?
Hooch is crazy.
Hooch is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you know we're done quoting TV shows.
There it is.
We were talking about, I think I talked about this with Dustin or maybe you, but because we were talking about shows before like Scrubs and Friends, and that, you know how, people are really analyzing Friends nowadays. Did we talk about that?
You mean like millennials?
Yeah, where it's very, misogynistic and sexist and all that
Right,
stuff.
they're really upset about how...
Well, Ross is, they don't like... but even when I watched it, Ross was controlling. I mean, that was one of his flaws. I think that was on purpose.
Right, yeah.
I don't think that was like, now that we're looking at it and the lens of 2018, they're like, oh my God, he was really controlling. He was. That's why they, she didn't like that. So I don't think it was, it was okay to be that way.
Yeah.
And now it's not, but...
well, also, certain people have that personality. Like that's
real.
Yeah, it's not a
comedic device. It's not a sitcom device.
That's something that people deal with every day in relationships. Like it's not anything that's
right. Jealousy,
specific
controlling
to just that time. Like that,
right.
Like it's not like have you seen those these old books that like tell you how to be a good wife, and a lot of them are like, well, have his dinner ready, have these different
have his
things,
slippers ready.
Right? Yeah, we're not talking about that sort of controlling or mindset that's what you need to be in order to be a good wife. And they also used to make a lot of lesbian jokes people were upset about, and those are the ones that I don't agree. Not that I agree that it's. I never understood how it was Ross's fault that he married a lesbian. Those were a lot of the jokes. I'm like, well, how is it his fault? That was the joke, though, was that he married a lesbian. Like he didn't know that. And I don't know. I don't remember the exact storyline, but it didn't seem like she had very many lesbianic
qualities.
So it was, and I think that's. I don't think so much they're laughing at Susan because she's a lesbian.
No,
I think they're laughing at the whole situation of
you were married to her for like 9 years and you didn't know she was a lesbian. Yeah.
And then the best part,
I always got annoyed because maybe he really didn't know. It's not really his fault if she wasn't like well,
he's oblivious and they're in a three-way and he's excited about the sandwich. Like
right.
Like,
it was really good. Yeah,
really good sandwich.
All those flashback episodes where you see
it, but it's not.
Yeah, you're like, oh, he's like, how I have you guys. She doesn't have any of her own friends, and
it's karate.
Susan something. Yeah, I think it's really gonna. I think he says it's really gonna change our relationship. We're really gonna
help things along.
Yeah.
No, but
Susan. This is just going to get into a Friends fandom podcast. But Susan didn't really help much.
Susan's a bitch.
Yeah, I mean,
no, not Susan. What was the other one?
I mean, Carol. No, Carol.
Carol was cool.
Carol was his ex-wife. Susan
was a
Susan Bunch.
Fuck you, Susan.
Yeah, I just it's really. I'm not saying that Ross was never a pain to deal with about it. But I mean, come on. She
walked around with a chip on her shoulder. She was like,
but he also forget the fact that she was a lesbian now. But he also got divorced, which is bad. Is bad anyway. No matter what happens.
Yeah.
Add on it that now she's a lesbian and she likes women instead of men.
Yeah.
And then now they're having a kid.
Right. That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to let Ross completely off the hook. I'm sure he stuff. I'm sure he wasn't easy to deal with either, but cut him a break.
Yeah,
just be a little more. He's having a hard time. Most people have a hard time with just the divorce,
right? Yeah. Well, I think that's what's crazy is like no one ever in today's day and age. It doesn't really matter what the context is. Like it's what's offensive. If this thing is offensive, then that's how I'm going to process it, and it doesn't matter what the context looks like. The only thing that matters is that those people are upset about A, B, or C. The comedy, like the stand-up comedy, when people get offended, when it's funny, and then when it's about them, then they say something, or even at a show that will stand up and it's weird. Like even as long as I can remember watching stand-up comedy or listening to or whatever, right?
When it was something that was about me, I kind of was like, oh man, I like that, but I never was like. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, they're making fun of things.
Right.
They're making fun of it.
Yeah.
They're not being they're not honoring anything. They're not talking great. So I mean, like, it's only funny. It's funny because they're making fun of the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah, of course they're gonna make jokes about it. I mean, that almost sounds like, yeah, of course that's what they're doing, but people don't seem to understand.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's not, and how do they know who is experienced what? It's. But when I would hear something about me that I like that they would make fun of, I would just kind of be like, oh man. But I would never say like, well, fuck this. Did you ever?
No, I mean, there's never been a time like, and that never. Yeah, that's never been a situation where it's real seldom that someone will have an hour of comedy that I don't want to listen to. Like if it's just, unless it's just not funny.
That's what I was going to say.
If it's not funny, then it's a lot easier to turn off. But I don't normally like, if it's funny, I'll stick with it, even if it's something that like,
and it's
would normally. It's tough in today's like environment, especially if it's like a political situation. Even in that context, I don't wear my feelings on my sleeve and like, hey, that's not where I would normally venture in terms of my school of thought. That doesn't matter. Like if it's funny, it's funny. It doesn't. If
it's well done, it's only bad if it's lazy and in poor. If it's in poor taste, but it's not in a. If it's mean just for mean's sake,
right.
Like you can tell the difference in hate speech and
right.
But if it's like, I am more impressed when it's done in a fresh, creative way. I don't really concentrate on the topic. The topic's part of it, but the way they do it, their style.
Well, it's why Bill Burr's so impressive, is because he can touch on a lot of different topics that, for most comics, they won't even go near.
If you just read it just without any context,
right?
Rape,
beating your wife,
he's
got jokes about the military now. He's got jokes about
Caitlyn Jenner transitioning.
Yeah.
But his point of view, it's the point of view that they used to, Caitlyn, you're like, hey, we didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to Bruce.
Yeah.
Like, you're just Caitlyn Jenner. Like, give us a minute to, that's true. Like, well, wait, this is different.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying like, this is where I lean left, but this is where I don't lean with them. It's like, people can have reactions to things.
Right.
Like, don't stifle just the human, uneasiness towards something different. Right. I mean, if anything's different, it takes you a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between attacking it and hatefulness and hatred and stuff.
Right.
But sometimes some of those like staunch liberals, you can't have any reaction to it. You can't.
Other than the one they approve of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I mean, we're all different. And like, if you shouldn't, if you're uncomfortable with it, if you just by yourself are uncomfortable with it, you shouldn't be made to feel bad.
No.
Because it's not like, just because you're uncomfortable with it doesn't mean, like, it's not that you may agree with it, but you can still be uncomfortable with it for a minute.
Yeah.
Like if I was okay, I mean, I am okay with people transgendered, but if my male cousin said, hey, I'm doing this, I'd be like, whoa, really? Like, if I didn't see it coming. Like, it's still...
You have a lot of questions.
But don't attack me and say, well, you're intolerant. I'm like, come on, man. I'm a hippie here. Come on. But it's still, if it's something different, I think Bill Burr even said, chopping your dick off as a guy is not something that is... Not everyone does that.
Right,
It's different.
Right, yeah.
Give me a minute.
Give me a second to process.
Yeah. So it's just, just the way it is nowadays. That's one of the things that's like, look, we're too sensitive. Like, it's not every time somebody is uncomfortable or doesn't immediately is fine with something doesn't mean that they are a bad person or that they are hateful or anything. They can,
right? Yeah, I think that's a big, like you said, it's a big difference between hating and saying, well, I want that person physically injured or I want bad things to happen to them because they make a certain decision, versus questioning or even being not supportive, as far as just like saying, that's fine if you want to do that. I'm not going to lend my support to that. I'm not gonna be the fist in the background that's like, yeah, dude, chop your dicks off. I'm not gonna be that person. but I'm not going to say, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big difference between,
Or you shouldn't
right,
do that if that's your thing.
and putting someone that says, hey, I'm not necessarily going to support it. I'm not going to say, yeah, it's great. I'm just going to be like, well, that's a thing that you're doing, and that's okay. You can do that because you have your money. You're a free.
You cannot support something without being against everyone being able to do that thing.
Right, and being grouped into that same group of people that say, well, you're just a hater. It's like, well, no, that's not fair.
Yeah. There are people that way where if I don't agree with it, then no one should ever do it. And that's the polar opposite of, those are just the two opposite sides. Either you have to be okay with every single thing and you can't have human reactions and be, and then, or
you just have to be like, no, this is great.
Right. Or if you don't agree with me exactly, you're evil and wrong, and it's just nothing,
Right, yeah.
Because that's both people's. That's the polar opposites of their opinions.
Right. Yeah.
Be okay with everything, not okay with everything.
Not okay with
so
anything.
It's just I don't know.
And I think there are more people that have that mentality as far as how you feel, how I feel.
But the ones that have the power to express that are the ones that are on the polar opposites. Yeah. So normal people are usually decent. Most people are decent,
Yeah.
But it's the ones on TV that have all the power,
all the say.
Yeah.
All the airtime.
Well, and then we can talk about the school shootings and stuff.
Woo!
Jeez, I mean it's scary for me because now this is my career.
Yeah.
It's not always school shootings. I mean, it's the Las Vegas guy and stuff, but
which is like that's the weirdest thing to me is that
the Las Vegas guy.
Yeah, they haven't come out with a motive.
Right.
It's almost over a year later. They haven't come out with,
and he wasn't
really anything in terms of explaining that.
Right. He wasn't like depressed or lost a job.
Just anything that fits whatever the mold is for those people to do that sort of stuff.
Which is even more frightening, I think.
Right.
So just because,
right?
I mean, did he do it?
Well, it just makes you think that they know what the answers are to some of those questions.
Maybe they're just not telling us.
And they're covering whatever it is.
Maybe the NRA paid a bunch of money and kept it away.
Yeah.
But I applaud the kids for the walkouts that they did and the marches. You don't?
I support their reasoning. Like I support their ability to do so. I don't necessarily think that a lot of those kids understand what is at the heart of the issue. Like, I know anyone.
You think they're actors? Are they paid? You think they're paid actors?
No. I'd never go that far and be like, CNN does. No.
Okay.
No, I definitely wouldn't say that.
I know. I was kidding. I know you don't.
But I would say that.
That's such a dumb. I hate that. I can't believe people think that they're.
I think it's just in that the same vein that we were talking about. I think you can be for supporting gun rights without saying that you enjoy children getting shot.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's like I hear a lot of people saying, "Well, let's do something." It's like, okay, what are your propositions? Let's start getting propositions on the table. I understand that you're walking out.
Well, just something. Well, that's what they want. But nobody's doing anything.
Right. Yeah. But I think that's okay. So what's the first thing you want to do? Okay. Well, let's ban. What's your first proposition? Let's ban what the actual gun that was used, the AR-15.
Right.
Is that what that's going to solve? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Virginia Tech, a guy goes on a rampage with handguns and kills more people than the kid did with an AR-15.
Well, I just think it would be, if something is done, then that's what they want. I mean, even if it's not the right thing, nobody's saying that these are static laws that never evolve or anything.
Right.
But let's try something.
Right.
There's got to be something.
Okay, so
I disagree that nothing can be done.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, let's decide. Okay, let's just say the thing that we decided to trot out is more extensive background checks, maybe a mental health checkup before you can do something like that. So granted, this kid didn't trigger any of those red flags before he bought the gun.
Right.
He didn't have any of those situations other than the 39 calls that were that were said.
Yeah.
He's
nuts.
He's trouble.
Yeah.
So other than that, nothing. But who decides where where those lines are drawn when it comes to a psychiatric test. Like, I mean, I think that's the scary point of everyone that's like, oh, I want to hold on to my gun. I get where they're coming from in terms of who's laying out these laws, and then when these laws are in place, who's determining what is crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, if the background check says, okay, the psychiatrist comes in, he asks you certain questions, you give the right answers, and then he says, this guy wants to do this, and they have someone that goes and checks your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed or something, and they deem your tweets to be something, let's just say they're too far right or too far left, and then that's what makes that decision. I think the possibility for, I think what people are afraid of on the right side is that ability to lay the groundwork for a time in the future when there is something that says, okay, all guns have to be controlled by said party. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, that's trouble.
Yeah.
Like, how else do you put that? Like, I think there's a compromise somewhere in there that can be made. More extensive background checks, maybe more of a waiting time.
Well, and I think that's all they're asking for.
Yeah.
Something more.
Yeah. But I think
none of the kids. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't think necessarily that those things implemented will stop that sort of thing. I think.
Well, no law ever completely stops anything.
Right.
But I mean, does that mean just get rid of all the laws?
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean,
no, not
anarchy,
you, but
yeah.
But because, I mean, people still speed, people still do drugs and stuff, but let's do something to, there's got to be some kind of deterrent.
What do you think about having armed security guards?
At schools?
At schools.
Well, I mean,
or just armed patrol.
We have
patrols.
Police. We have Waco ISD police, and they have guns and bulletproof vests, and they walk around all the time. I mean, that's, But again, it's not, I mean, that's my argument with, teachers being armed in the classroom. I mean, they're not always there. The police, so the Waco ISD police aren't always around. Right. It's just, but then that goes to people, you're like, well, somebody's always going to get in. Well, somebody's going to get in no matter what you have in place. Well, it's true, but that doesn't mean, so I'm not saying just get rid of all the police that we have there.
Right, yeah.
Because there's not enough of them and they may not.
As it is, right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, to me, those are always the two basic arguments.
Right.
Well, do it, which is good, but then if you have it, it doesn't always stop it. Because, you can use everyone's argument against them. They're like, well, if you just completely, if the argument's about one extreme or the other, arm all the teachers,
right?
So people,
give everyone a gun.
Everyone a gun, but what if what if the teacher goes crazy, or what if they're not there that day and a sub's there and they don't have a gun or whatever, and then no guns, and they're like, well, somebody's going to get a gun no matter what. I'm like, either argument, there's always like, well, the basic argument is somebody's going to do something if they really want to,
right?
But I don't think that means that you should just do nothing,
right? Yeah,
there's got to, and I don't know. I think a good start is in my heart of hearts,
right.
I don't think a civilian needs an assault rifle,
right?
I don't think unless you're somebody that you can show proof. You have to show proof that you want your truck to be a farm truck.
Right.
And before they classify it as that. So show me, there's got to be something you can prove that you need this AR-15.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, and that won't stop it all, I know. But I think it would help the kids and everybody if just one tiny step would just make them feel like, because it's just, you hear the politicians, and I mean, I know that the NRA has a lot of money, and it's just.
What I think is, it's a complex issue. I think we can both agree on that. It's a hard issue to tackle.
Complex. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
because
it is.
It's just like you said, it has so many factors. It's got so many things that you can't go full one way without having a consequence on the other side. So, like you said, something needs to be done. As far as banning a specific thing, I don't know. I think because
it should have, but I'm saying, like, okay, there's a law requiring you to wear a seatbelt, but that doesn't mean everyone does it. Some people still die from not wearing their seatbelt.
Right.
But I mean, and then ban them, and then there's got to be some way to, if you get caught with it, then there's a penalty. Like, I mean, but again, not everyone's just toting their assault rifle around all the time to see if they have one or not.
Right.
But I mean, maybe when if you're registered for an AR-15 and you have it, then you should get when I got bingo from Fuzzy Friends, they made visits to make sure I was taking care of the dog. Can't somebody just pop in and say, hey,
Still got that gun?
how's the gun? Where is it? How you feeling?
Right.
Just some kind of home visit.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be, without infringing on anybody's rights or whatever. No, we should have rights, but without being,
I think
just some kind of follow up visit with them.
I read something.
Yeah, do the background check, but then follow up too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things can happen in 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
That can change your mental health.
Yeah, yeah.
So you should keep I think that's doable.
Yeah.
Because surely not everyone would have that with that assault rifle. Surely there's not. Well, I don't know. Maybe there are millions and millions of people that have them, but I feel like there shouldn't be that many people with them. The ones that do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that it's just
nothing's going to happen. They're just going to keep being school shootings. I hate to be cynical and hopeless, but they're not. It's money.
Yeah.
Money's gonna, and nobody can agree on
what needs to be done.
Everything's so, like we were talking about, being offended versus, having no reaction versus having some reaction. Polar opposites. I just think the way to get a gun should be more rigorous. There should be like class time. I think that would deter some crazies.
Sure,
even some.
That would deter some crazies from going about it legally.
Yeah,
but you'd still have a black market for. I think
cocaine.
I think that's a perfect issue. Is like you outlaw a bunch of different things that should be outlawed. Cocaine can kill people. Yeah, let's outlaw it. Is it still bought and used? Of course it is.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we should just legalize cocaine, right? I just don't, and it's nothing personal with you. I just hate that argument where people say, "Well, if we ban it, they'll still get it." That doesn't mean we shouldn't have a law against it.
I agree.
Yes, of course they're gonna. Yes,
I agree. But the gun itself is not what's causing that. The gun itself that the kid used is not the reason why that happened. In other words, that kid could have found. He could have bought two different pistols. It really doesn't matter how he went about it.
But maybe the smaller magazine took longer. It would have been easier to get him down. He wouldn't have killed so much so fast. Not to say it wouldn't happen. I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
But even if it lessened
You're just saying,
carnage.
Let's mitigate the risk, whatever the risk is.
Yeah.
Let's mitigate whatever that might be.
Any benefit is worth it, I think. Even if he still did it and he killed 4 people instead of 17. It's still sad that 4 people died, but let's look at the big picture.
Right.
I'm saying just try to something. Right. Yes.
You just want something.
That would 13 less people dying.
Right.
That'd be better.
Yeah.
That's if it happened exactly the way it happened.
Played out.
And I don't know, and nobody knows, but
yeah. And that's
if it just maybe some people if they don't have the patience if they want one of those.
What I think is difficult is that you do have law abiding citizens that do own that gun that in a much
then they would
in
be
a much
okay
heavier
with,
a much heavier statistic that don't do that.
Yeah, but they would have no problem if they're law abiding then following law to get them. Then you can have them.
Sure, yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I agree that it would be easier. As far as making that particular gun harder to get, you can do whatever you want in terms of that. You can outlaw the gun. You can make it impossible to get. You can say we're never going to build another one of those again. As long as there are guns, period, that kid was going to find a way to get that done. So you can blame the gun all you want. I think the issue is deeper in terms of, I don't know how much stock you put into different things. Like, I don't know how much
we're
stock
never going to change the country's obsession with guns.
Yeah. No,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Like, and then I wonder just how much stock you put in different things. Like, I'm reading different things to get different viewpoints.
Oh, geez.
And
what are you going to talk about?
One of these specific things that they talked about was, a lot of these kids a lot of these people that decide to do this, they retreat into themselves. They don't have a lot of friends. They don't have a lot of these different things, little different contacts, and a lot of these different shooters don't have dads. They don't have a father figure. Not that a father figure would have turned everything around, but who's to say?
Yeah,
who knows? So,
but it may have helped? Is that what you're saying?
And maybe.
Well, that's what
know.
I'm saying with the laws against guns. Maybe it would have helped.
Maybe it would have. Maybe it would have. But
you're something,
right? Yeah.
Let's work on. No, that was just that was one of my arguments. Like the laws. There's a bunch of other fucked up shit.
Yeah.
That causes. I mean, our society's broken as just being nice to each other and social with each other and stuff. It's technology, I think, ruins it.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone's got their face in a phone instead of looking for the kid that's hurting.
Yeah. So it's not. Yeah. But again, technology is ingrained in us. Guns are ingrained in us. It's just I don't know. I think that's why it's so frustrating because it feels like there's nothing because all these things are here and to stay.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that this wasn't an issue in previous generations.
Yeah,
necessarily. So starting from a certain time, I don't know when the first one happened, but starting from that certain time,
what's different? We need to look at We should look at that.
What's different? What's different that people see life as they don't see it as a precious thing anymore because at a certain point in time, every one of these kids has to cross a line that says your life isn't that important to me.
Right.
So
I'm going to end it.
Right. At what point does that happen?
Yeah.
And so, you're right. There are things we can do to maybe keep those weapons from those kids' hands. If it's raising the legal buying age, if it's I don't know what the I don't know what other
there's
compromises
concrete
are.
things we can do, but there's also abstract, emotional, looking, like from abstract things that we can look at.
Right. Like why are these things happening that are just occurring within our lifetime or within the last 50 years, 60 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And
there's something's changed.
Right. And you're right. I don't subscribe to one idea that making one change on either side is going to cure the whole issue.
No, there's no magic button or magic pill.
And I think that's what's frustrating is like, sometimes people want a fix to this sort of issue quickly because it is kids dying, it is Sandy Hook, it is these different things where this stuff happens and you're like, man, just what do we do to fix this specific problem? It's like, well, we can do all these different things. I don't know. I agree with you that, we need to find some sort of compromise between these so that not the biggest thing is both sides yelling and then trying to politicize whatever the situation is so that both sides don't come together and work on something.
Yeah, it should be. I wish it were more regular people talking than politicians because politicians are going to stick to their party.
Right.
Either way.
Toe the line and get reelected and do whatever.
Yeah, so it's just... There's
term limits. Let's have term limits. Yeah. That's the first thing we need. There's
just all these angles that you have to look at it from so many different ways.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a big deal. And what do you think about CNN and other news networks, not just that one, giving a lot of FaceTime to the young kids, 16-year-olds? Not that it's a bad thing, but just what do you take from what they're saying?
You mean the fact that they're doing it or what the kids are actually saying?
Yeah, what the kids are actually saying.
Well, I don't know what you're asking. Do I think it's right that they're putting them on or do I think that...
Right, but do you think in a certain way...
I think it's healthy that they get to express themselves. I mean, I think that probably helps them grieve or deal with it or whatever.
So, I guess, do you think they're more concerned about their well-being from a mental standpoint? Because that's a traumatic thing they just went through.
Right.
Or do you think that they enjoy what they're saying because it resonates with what their political agenda is? Whatever, because they'll bring kids on from that went through that have different opinions. I've seen Fox News do it too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, probably. I mean, that's what, all the news networks are bad. No,
Right.
there's no fair news.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure that is why they're
They're
doing
both
it.
just trying to bring both.
Yeah, I mean,
sides
even if
in.
I agree with something, I know why they do it.
Right.
I mean, it's not. I wish, it would be nice to get a break from politics. It's everywhere. Like I
Right.
wish.
Yeah.
I mean, they even though I agree, even though I hate Trump and I agree about like more gun regulations
Control,
or
yeah.
whatever, I don't want to hear about it all the time.
All day, every
It's
day.
just, I mean, and it's like, I mean, I'm an old soul, but like Johnny Carson, he used to say he never picked a side. Why alienate half your audience?
Right.
He would make fun of everybody, each side equally.
Right, yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, they're politicians. They're buffoons. Both sides
All they want
are
is to
stupid.
vote, yeah.
Yeah. And now it's just like, I mean, I know that's, I don't like Jimmy Fallon, but I know that's why he's losing, because he did not take a stand. And that's what people want. And I know it's different. It's not the 70s anymore. But
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of scandal and a lot of, I mean, Vietnam was in the 70s, and that was a
Big deal, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I want to watch a late night talk show, comedy show, to get away from it.
Get away from
to
it.
laugh about. Yeah, that's why I watch Conan. I mean, I love Conan, and he'll do, he does political stuff in there, but he does a lot of silly.
His
just
stuff is still funny. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's pushing too much of an agenda. It's just kind of like,
I still want some like
this is stupid. This is
silly.
funny.
Like, I mean, I know Florida just had the school shooting, but I still want some funny Florida weird shit that happened.
Right.
You know?
Well, because Florida's crazy.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
No,
I
get it.
mean, politics is part of the news. Do some of those too, but let's do some other silly.
Yeah,
you know.
there used to be segments that I would enjoy watching on different shows, and now like it's if I watch a show, if I watch Jimmy Kimmel or a portion of Colbert, it's because of who they're talking to. It's not necessarily their monologues or anything.
Yeah. Because you used to. Well, nowadays you already know what they're going to say.
Right.
It's not like, oh, I want to see what his take is on this. You
Right.
already know what it is.
Because you've already heard the take before 15 times earlier that day.
And
or
that's
something.
another part of it. There's a person on every channel saying what they think all the
Right.
time. So there's not, back then there was 4 channels, and you had to wait till 10:30 at night to just hear what he said. But yeah, it's exhausting and it makes you feel more hopeless. Like what's going on, and then you hear about it 8 more times
Right.
before you go to bed, and you're like, oh God.
Right.
I don't know. It's rough. But money.
It's
About that money.
It all comes back to money.
Money. Money, 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 money. Money. Yeah. Anyway.
I think I could hit that
Oh,
note.
geez. Let's talk about something else to end the show.
All right.
In a few more minutes, we'll talk about something light.
Okay, lighthearted.
I don't have anything. I was hoping you did.
Did you see Black Panther yet?
No.
No? You gonna go see it?
I'm not into all the
Not into
Marvel
big, yeah.
I mean, like you like every comic book
I'll
ever.
go see anyone they put out. Yeah, even if I like hate.
They
like,
could shit in a barrel and put it on and say Marvel, and you'd be like, yes, please.
well, even I mean, DC has been putting out some pretty shitty movies, and
Marvel's just, I mean, that is one thing I know. Marvel just rules with the comic book
they
movies.
kill it every
they
time.
can.
They fucking kill it, and I hate it because DC is great. And
Did you ever watch that documentary I told you about the
Batman? Yeah, I saw parts of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
Oh man, it's so good. Because then
It's almost sad because I'm like, well, this guy's going to come up with this whole idea, and this other dude's
and
just going
Bob
to
Kane
take.
just like fuck you. But it's so good because they end up finding I won't tell you about it, but it's very satisfying.
Oh, okay.
If you go through
Yeah,
it, but
it's
it's
not like-
interesting all the shit that you're like, man, Bob Kane was a dick. Like he just. Because he was already like a big wig at the place. It wasn't DC Comics, whatever it was before. And then he's like, hey, man, you want to like draw this and write it? And I'll put my name on it? Because he was giving him part of it. The guy was like a struggling comic book artist.
Uh-huh.
So Bob Kane was like, here, you can have like a percentage of what I'm going to get since I'm already a big
Right.
shot over
Since
here.
Since I can control this
sure,
idea.
whatever. Yeah, because
Yeah.
now he's going to get an income. And then
Yeah.
Batman blew up. And then he, like, that guy, I forget, Bill something. I can't remember his last name. Bill something
Bill
or other.
Dumbass.
Bill. He created a lot of villains too, like
Did
the
he really?
Joker and Penguin. Like it wasn't
shit.
just Batman; it was like other stuff too.
He's responsible for his rogue gallery.
Yeah,
Golly. So much money. It's like those guys that sold the idea of Superman for $100.
Right.
It's just
Yep.
what you don't know what you're selling until you.
Did you hear Stan Lee's he's like grabbing his nurse's ass and stuff?
Stan Lee is?
That's like a month old or something. But Stan Lee, he's like in his 90s.
Man, let him grab some ass.
I know. I think that was just happening too. And I'm like, wait, are you talking about Stan Lee grabbing ass like now? Like I'm like, he didn't know where he is half the time. I'm like, or Stan Lee when he's in his 30s. And I think it was his nurse that's been caring for him. And I'm like, well, he's 100.
He's old. Shit.
Come on. He's just happy to be. He's just trying to make sure he can still feel what it's like to be alive. But I mean, he's like in his mid 90s, right?
He's old,
and he goes out. He's in all the movies. Makes cameos in the movies, and
I think you can tell he started to get a lot older because maybe his cameos were a little more interactive. Used to.
He'd talk more.
Right. And now he's just kind of like sitting on a stump.
Maybe he's dead. Maybe
talking.
Maybe
they're
he's just
going to weekend at Bernie's.
Because he's usually just sitting weird in a corner in a shot. Yeah. So they just got his sunglasses on and got him propped up. They're using their shoelaces to walk him through the thing. You're like, no, Stan died like 15 years ago, but we just he's dead. But I do. I was more of a DC nerd not as in depth because like I don't know all the DC characters, but that was usually the one I gravitated towards.
Well, I mean, it's got the classics. It's got Superman,
Batman.
Yeah, and that's
no, not Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I used to have. I had because he was never one of the. When I was a kid, he was never one of the more famous one. But I had the action figure of Green Lantern too, yeah, and came with like a ring, But I didn't. It wasn't more. Batman was just all. I don't know. Maybe I think that was because it was when I was a kid. It was around 5 or 6, and Batman came
movie,
out with Michael Keaton because that was the first blockbuster one, and I think that made me that was my Batman. Because I saw Superman with Christopher Reeve, but I saw it on TV, and it was in the 70s. So
it wasn't as
But I mean, I was alive when it came out, and we went and saw it. And, I'm like, holy shit, and the Batmobile and all this stuff, and I think
I used to watch the '60s version of Batman, Adam West, and I still thought that was awesome.
I know, I'd still watch it too. It's so campy, but the Bat 2C and Cesar Romero would not shave his mustache, so he just painted over that fucker. Sorry. I'm like, Cesar Romero, really? You can't just can you not grow it back? I mean, is it not going to grow back?
Yeah, that's right. You could see it in the white paint.
He just, that's right. They did have shark spray, shark repellent, and how they were walking up the wall.
Yeah. And then just the classic lines, the same bat time, same bat channel. I mean, that
holy whatever Batman that Robin would say, holy whatever. Probably the only good part, well, maybe the most memorable part for me, Batman Forever is when they had when he said holy rusted metal Batman.
Yeah.
Because they were standing on some holy rusted metal. That movie was really bad.
Yeah, every one of Schwarzenegger's lines was great. Nice to meet you. Yeah,
well, but of course, how could you not like
it? Freaking campy as all get out.
That was almost like a throwback to the whole thing.
All they were missing was those POW and the BAMF.
BAMF. Badass motherfucker. Or Zach and I remember there was an episode of The Simpsons. They did Radioactive Man. That was Bart's, his comic book guy. Not comic book guy. It was Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy.
And I think that's where they said Fall Out Boy got their name from that episode. That's why they call themselves Fall Out Boy.
From what?
Because his sidekick was Fall Out Boy, Radioactive Man and Fall Out Boy.
Uh-huh.
And the band.
Oh, that's where they got the name from?
I think that's really what it was. Don't check me on that. But
trust me,
it was funny because they're like, hey, we're going to make this movie, but let's stay away from the campy 60s version. I mean, it's all based on Batman, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they show, and it's like the villain is the Scoutmaster, and it's Paul Lynde. He's like, don't forget to use your nails, boys. He's just gay, but he's 60s gay. He's closeted.
He's throwing glitter everywhere.
Yeah, right. He's just like Rip Torn or whatever. Whoa, that guy. But so anyway, when they were fighting, all the sound effects were just the weirdest. Like, in the show, it's like bam and pow and all that stuff. But it was like mint and newt. It was all the weirdest words that they would pick. And one of them was Bort. And Bort was, he couldn't find his nameplate when they were in Itchy and Scratchy Land in an episode. And he was looking for Barclay, Bert. He was looking for Bart, and it said Bort. And he's like, come on, Bort?
You mean from the wall of names?
I'm not even explaining it well. I'm just miming it like anybody knows.
Like the keychains that have your name on it. Yeah.
The license plates.
That have your name on it, yeah.
I'm miming it, and you don't even know what I'm talking about, and you're here. And people are listening are like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But like the little novelty license plates you could get, and he's looking on the little carousel of them, and it's got Bort, but it's like really Bort. And then like the Simpsons writers are so good, you know, a kid comes and says, Mommy, can I have a license plate? Come along, Bort. And this guy's like, are you talking to me? I'm like, no, my son is also named Bort. And then a callback way later when they're in the bowels of Itchy and Scratchy Land, which is supposed to be like, you know, how Disney's rumored to have this. Well, I think they do have like an underground city that controls everything.
Yeah.
So they're going to, Homer gets thrown in jail because he was kicking an Itchy or something. And so as they're wheeling him through, like on a, you know, like a John Deere tractor or whatever. All these little like scientist guys, they're on headsets and they're talking and trying to keep the park running. And one of the last ones is, we're out of Bort license plates in the gift shop. I repeat, we need more Bort license plates. It's so good.
I want to chocolate. I only know Conan to be one of the writers in the Simpsons rooms, so I always like to chalk up old jokes like that to Conan.
Yeah, Conan wrote that.
Did he really?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think he was already gone by then.
Oh.
He did write one of my favorite episodes when Homer goes to college.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Marge and the...
Well, that one too.
Oh, okay.
But that's the first one I thought of. But yeah, he did write Marge versus the Monorail.
Monorail.
That's one of the best ones ever. I call the big one Bitey. He also, I think he wrote... No, he didn't write Mr. Plow, but one of my favorite lines... And this is how you know it's time to go when we start quoting shows. And we're about to go. One of my favorite lines, I love when Homer used to talk to his brain.
Yes.
When they used to have conversations.
Yeah. And then, okay, yeah.
I think I already told you this one, but it's the Mr. Plow one. It's snowing. Homer has an accident in the snow, and they're going to get an insurance check, and the insurance adjuster's saying, okay, now this place Moe's you were at, what is that? And it goes to his brain. He's like, don't say a bar. Don't say it's a bar. But what else is open at night? And it goes back to Homer, and he's like, it's a pornography store. I was buying pornography. But it goes back to his brain, and his brain says, I never would have thought of that. So I don't know where did it come from. It did not his brain, some other part.
I love that. And I remember one where his brain says something, and this is how bad I'm.
It's okay.
His brain says something. Homer does something not so much just complete opposite, but just way out of left field. He makes it even worse than what the brain was telling him not to do. And then you just hear the voice inside go, that's it, I'm out of here.
And and you hear a door close. Yeah. That's it, I'm out of here. Yeah. Good stuff.
I never would have thought of that.
I never would have thought of that. I just love where did that come from? It's a pornography store. I would rather say I'm at a bar than a porn store. Because he could, he couldn't say a bar, or they would,
No, he's drunk.
And wouldn't give him, I like to explain the premise too. So, oh shit, my headphones are getting all fucked up and retarded. The headphones are fucked up and my shit's all retarded. Anyway, I guess we'll get out of here. It's a cold one today.
Same bat time.
Same yak time, same yak channel, which means nothing because we never do it. But no, we're good now. Thursday nights. Eventually we should start doing live again. Because now we're trying to streamline this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like an old Cadillac.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm mixing metaphors here, I think. Anything to add? Baseball season's coming up.
Ooh, yeah. When is it? March 1st? March spring training? When is it?
It's about to start, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
not looking forward to the season, but I'm still excited for baseball.
Just baseball. Just to have baseball back.
See the Astros win again.
And baseball season started for me. High school umpiring and stuff, so that's going to be fun. I'm a veteran, so I can just like shit on everyone else and say, that's not how you do that.
That's not how you do
All
that.
the new guys are like, nah, that's wrong. Sorry. Kill yourself.
Kill it.
No. Anything? You good?
Oh, good.
All right. We'll get out of here, you guys. Thanks for listening. As always, we'll catch you next time right here on the Weekly Yak. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That was awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Weekly Yak.
No, sir. I didn't like it.
Check us out at weeklyyak.com. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Lighthouses rule.
And subscribe to us on iTunes.
Keep looking up, because that's where it all is.